Hey guys, I hope you guys all had a great weekend um, of sports betting and spending time with the family. Puck time. This is my last show for a couple of weeks. I will be here I'll be back at the end of the first round. Andrew McInnes will be back in the hosting chair tomorrow with Don Buster, but it's Brian Leonard with me co-hosting today. And we got three games that still have some importance as far as playoff positioning. We're going to talk Chicago Blackhawks, Montreal Canadiens. We're going to talk the LA Kings and Edmonton Oilers as the Oilers try and catch the Kings for that home ice advantage in the first round for these two teams are meeting. And then we're going to finish it off with the Florida Panthers hosting the New York Rangers. And still up for grabs for the Florida Panthers before they play the Tampa Bay Lightning in their next game is that home ice advantage against Tampa Bay in the opening round. Brian, let's bring you in. How was your weekend, my friend?
Good. Not a problem at all. And looking forward to talking some hockey with you today.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well, too. The weekend was pretty good for me. Very good run in NHL heading into the playoffs. So that's a positive sign. 7-1 between Saturday and Sunday in the NHL. So hopefully we can keep that going. But first game on the card and one of the biggest prices on the card, Brian. And you wouldn't normally say that when you're talking about the Montreal Canadiens, but the Habs minus 275 here, Chicago plus 225. Total sits here at 6, shaded 15 cents to the over in this one. Brian, I'm going to keep my analysis on this one. The Montreal Canadiens, obviously with a win tonight, whether it comes in regulation or whether it comes in OT, will clinch that final playoff spot and keep Columbus on the outside looking in. They have a 3-point lead on them. Both teams have 2 games left to go. Montreal finishes their season. If they don't get a win tonight, they finish their season against the Carolina Hurricanes and might get a Canes team that is resting starters ahead of their playoff series. The Hawks are playing spoilers. They like this role. I'm not sure they're really spoiling any teams. They gave Winnipeg a tough time in a 5-4 OT loss, scored 5 against the Bruins. And this one, I still think this is Montreal's game to lose. I don't see them doing it on home ice. So for my co-host, Andrew McInnes, I am touting his Montreal Canadiens tonight, but I'm not laying 275. I think they get it done in 60 minutes, Bry. And this is really right at the top end of what I want to pay for a regulation line at about minus 165, minus 170 on the Canadiens. But they're going to get it done tonight against this Chicago team. So I'm taking them in regulation, and I'll look forward to hearing what you got to say about this one.
Yeah. I like to go over how the teams have played the last month or so. Last 30 days in 5-on-5 play. Chicago's disappointing goal share of 44.10. Montreal's only 48.85, though. So even though they're playing 500 ball down the stretch, they're not dominating the opposition. The season's going to end with the Blackhawks having the second worst record in the league with just 8 wins on the road through 39 games. Chicago's lost 9 straight games against teams currently in the playoff hunt, so they have not performed well by going up against teams that need to win. Chicago ends the year at Ottawa tomorrow night, so they got back-to-back road games, and then they're done. Montreal is playing its 3rd game in 4 days after losing at Ottawa and Toronto over the weekend. A win tonight or Wednesday hosting Carolina would lock up a very surprising playoff spot for this team. The Canadiens, though, are on an impressive 9-1 run at home. So you got a team of the Canadiens that have been playing great hockey at home. You got a team in Chicago who's been terrible on the road all season long. And as you mentioned, it's tough to lay this type of price with Montreal, but that's the only way I could play this one. The Canadiens have held 7 of their last 8 opponents to 2 goals or less. So instead of laying that 275 or whatever it is right now on Montreal, I'm going to play the Chicago team total under 2.5. It's about minus 135, minus 140 right now. Chicago to score 3 goals to beat us. I don't think that's going to happen the way Montreal is playing right now, especially at home. So I'll be rooting for Montreal, but I'll be rooting for Montreal's defense more than the offense in this one. And I'll probably come back and may use this one as my best bet on the show today, but just can't see how Chicago is going to light up the lantern here in Montreal more than twice.
Right. It's going to be an interesting game to watch, Brian. I'm going to be watching that from about 30,000 feet in the air. I leave at 4:30 today, off to um, Venice first. Venice, then Rome, then the Amalfi Coast, and then Turin, where I'll be catching a football game for the Italian Serie A. But Brian, I want to talk about, before we get to the next game, I want to talk about, because we saw it in the NFL at the end of the season, a lot of the incentive-laden games where there's players trying to hit their yards, trying to hit their receptions, trying to hit their TDs for that added extra bonus money. Well, there's a bunch of players sitting on 29 goals, and 30 is one of those milestone ones where you have some incentives. Case in point, tonight, Nick Suzuki of the Montreal Canadiens is sitting on 29 goals, and he's plus 150 to score anytime. I know you're not a player prop guy, Bri, but you have to figure some of these ones, and I'm gonna go through a few more for you guys at the end of the show. But Nick Suzuki, Montreal Canadiens, in a game that they want to win, need to win, plus 150 for an anytime goal for Nick Suzuki. Those are DK prices. You might find them better prices at other locations. But would you look at any player props, or is that just something that's not in your zone?
Yeah, I'm not a player prop guy, but I think it could be similar to what happened in the NFL, where one team had a big lead, and then they put the guy in the game and let him grab a pass and get that big bonus. I remember that. That was a lot of fun for him. It wasn't fun for management, but it was fun for him, and it was a good story for that week. I don't think it's going to have any effect until they get a couple goal lead in this one, because just to win the game means so much more than to get that. But if they get off to, they say they're leading 3-0 late in the game, they may feed him and try to get him that extra goal. But I think that's low on the totem pole when when you're looking for the goals for this Montreal team tonight.
Yeah, there's 7 players sitting on 29 goals, and I'll discuss some more of them later on. Each and every one of these ones, Brian, are going to be plus money. I have to figure 4 and 3 makes you a profit. Now, choosing anytime goal scorer is always tough, but some of the situations seem to, in this final week, seem to work out. So we'll see if that happens or not. But Nick Suzuki will be on my betting card for today to score a goal at plus 150. We'll see if he gets there or not tonight in what many expect to be a Montreal win, unless you're a Columbus Blue Jackets fan and you're hoping for the Chicago Blackhawks to do you a favor. Edmonton, saw them play last night, scored some goals, looked better, getting ready for a first-round matchup for the 4th straight year against the LA Kings, Brian. Minus 110 both ways on this one, as Edmonton's on the second of a back-to-back. Total sits here at 5.5. Is this, there's still an outside chance for this Edmonton team to catch the LA Kings. I don't see it happening right now, because the Kings would have to totally collapse. So they're going to get for the first time in 4 years, they're going to get home ice against the Edmonton Oilers. How are you breaking this one down?
Well, both teams underplay a lot of success over the last month. 5-on-5 play. The Kings are at 52.63 expected goal share. Edmonton 56.72. These two are battling it out with Colorado for the 4th through the 6th seeding in the West. All 3 teams have performed very well at home, so that 4th spot in the standings does have value here, as nobody wants to go on the road against any of these teams. The host in the series this year is 3-0, and it's been all low-scoring games. So even though the Oilers, I don't think they need to have home ice advantage against the Kings, I think the Kings need to have home ice advantage against Edmonton, because if you take a look at the last few years in the playoffs, they've struggled against Edmonton and have not played well. So it'll be a situation where it means more to LA. And as I mentioned, the host was 3-0 this season. So they're trying to keep that in play. Edmonton likes to get that victory there, but it's been low-scoring games, which is really strange because you're seeing a total of 5.5 here in this game. How often do we see an Edmonton game with a total of 5.5? This is the first of a back-to-back road slate for LA. They play in Seattle on deck tomorrow. Edmonton beat a disinterested Winnipeg team on the road yesterday, a team that had just recently locked up the first place trophy out here in the West. The Jets had secured home ice advantage throughout the playoffs with that, so they did rest some regulars. But as I said, it's not often you see a 5.5 here, but that's the only way I could take a look at this one. I think this game is very important to both teams, especially the Kings, I believe. And so I'm going to play this game under. It's not often you play an under 5.5 of the Oilers game, but that's what the Kings want to do. The Kings want to beat you in a low-scoring game. They've had success against the Oilers doing that so far this year, so we'll see what happens. But if I had to play this one, it would be the under.
And Bri, I have to agree with you here. You look at the two games they played in 2025. They played 3 games this season. The first one was back in December. That one goes over the total. That was in and around Christmas time. But the Oilers win 1-0 at home, and then the Kings win 3-0. The most recent game, 3-0 in LA. I think the same thing. I think the Kings come in, play a strong defensive game against this Edmonton team. Home ice is extremely important for them. The number 1 team in the Western Conference was the LA Kings this season. On the road, not so great, 11th overall. So the Oilers can be beaten at home. They're 25-15 on home ice. So not a spectacular record. I think that ranks 6th or 7th in the Western Conference. But I think this is one against 2 playoff teams that are going to meet themselves in the first round. There's no sending a message here just because the game has importance to it. So I think it's going to be a low-scoring affair between these two. 3-2. How's about 2-2 going to OT and they let them settle it in a 3-on-3? That one works for me. All right, let's head back to the Eastern Conference, Brian. The New York Rangers, the disappointing New York Rangers against the Florida Panthers. The New York Rangers, while they're not going to make the playoffs, they can play spoiler as far as home ice goes in the Atlantic Division because they finished their season off against Florida tonight, and then they're home, or they play the Tampa Bay Lightning in their final game. How are you breaking this one down, Brian? I have to believe that Florida would probably be the play here. It's minus 170. Again, kind of a high number for me. Florida's playing well now since they got some healthy bodies back into the lineup. I think the regulation line here against a Rangers team that very well have checked out. 2 games left. Minus 110 is the regulation line. That's where I'm leaning here. Any similar thoughts, or are you attacking this differently?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's somewhat similar to the Chicago-Montreal game where you've got one team who needs to win and the line's high against a team who basically is packeted in for the season. Chicago was a team much more expected to not contend, but at least play a lot better this year. And to end up with the record they have, that's pretty embarrassing. So their season, they can't wait for the season to end. But you look at the Rangers, over the last 30 days, 5-on-5 play, the Rangers expected goal share of only 45.9, while the Panthers are at 54.98. So they've been 10% better in expected goal share. And while you mentioned New York has been eliminated from the playoffs, Florida sits 1 game behind Carolina for a first-round home ice advantage. So that's important for Florida. And a lot of those teams in the East are so close in talent that home ice, I think, is going to make a difference there. Even the teams that have locked up home ice, they can be beat. It's not like you're getting a dominant team coming out of the East. And considering that the Hurricanes are 31-10 at home, Panthers 27-13 in their own arena, I think both teams will have something to fight for, especially considering, as you mentioned, Tampa Bay is just 1 point ahead of Carolina. So we could get the playoff changes in the last couple of days here, and it could be totally different matchups. The Rangers have been involved in some high-scoring games as of late, with 10, 11, and 13 goals being scored in the last 3 contests. That tells me we've got a veteran team here that came into the season with high expectations. Now they're just trying to, reach some, as you pointed out earlier, reach some incentives and just trying to get some offense up there. Florida, on the other hand, is going 7 straight games with 5 games or less goals scored. So we got 2 teams coming into this. The Rangers want to add some points to their totals for the season, whereas Florida wants to go out there and win the way they do is defense. So I prefer that side. Just a year ago, the Rangers were the President's Trophy winners. So you can expect a lack of effort here to finish off this season. A season after that, not even making the playoffs. It's pretty embarrassing. A lot of rumors coming out of New York, maybe coaching changes due, but we'll have to see. But Florida rested 4 of their top forwards in a 3-2 win over Buffalo. That was their last game out. But Bobrovsky, a couple of those players are expected back tonight. This is the first of a back-to-back for the Panthers, who travel to Tampa in what could be a big game tomorrow night. So I think Florida comes out to win both these games. They're not going to coast. They tried coasting against Buffalo. They survived that. Now they're getting some players back. I think Florida gives a good effort both these last final games as they try to lock up that home ice advantage.
Brian, I agree with you. That first round matchup between Florida and Tampa is going to be a good one. Home ice, I think, bears some weight in that. Florida's been very good at home. You look at their last 15 games, they've won 13 of the last 15 games. 10 of those wins come in regulation. And we talked about the Rangers. They've checked out. Sure, they can jump up and surprise us, but this is a team that scores 9 goals. Somehow 2 games ago, scored 9 goals against the New York Islanders, and then allow 7 to the Carolina Hurricanes in their next game in a 7-3 loss. So that's the type of season it has been for the New York Rangers. If you're a fan of the New York Rangers, you obviously know it's been like this pretty much the whole season, other than that great start by them. It's been a disappointing season, and I agree with you. Some off-season moves are definitely coming for this Rangers team. They can't have another season like they had here. Bobrovsky, to your point of Bobrovsky, he is confirmed as the starter for tonight. Seeing right now, as far as confirmed starters, the only 2 thus far are Montembeault for Montreal and Bobrovsky for the Florida Panthers. Brian, before we get into like some best bets and what we have up at WagerTalk, I wanted for you guys, I mentioned some prop bets that I'm looking at in this final week of the NHL season. These are guys sitting on 29 goals. So trying to hit that 30-goal mark. Where I mentioned Nick Suzuki. One other one in play tonight is Dylan Larkin, plus 185 at home in Detroit's final home game of the season as they take on the Dallas Stars. Another good one, Brian Rust, home against the Washington Capitals. They're going to be resting players. Final home game, I believe, for Pittsburgh. Rust is on 29. There's no prices on these other ones I'm going to mention because they only list those on game day. Anders Lee, New York Islanders, on 29 goals. He plays his final home game against the Washington Capitals, who will likely be resting players as well again. Brady Tkachuk, home against the Chicago Blackhawks. He's going to want to hit 30. I think that game is tomorrow. Matthew Nyes of the Toronto Maple Leafs. They are in Buffalo. The Sabres love to give up goals as well, too. They gave up a bunch to Tampa Bay yesterday. Matthew Nyes hitting 30 goals. And finally, Sebastian Aho, his final game will be in Montreal. And that one, I could see him resting. But if the Montreal Canadiens win tonight and secure a playoff spot, that game might have some goals in it. So we'll see if Aho plays or not. But those are some prop plays, guys, on anytime goal scorer going into this final week of the season for players looking to hit 30 goals. They're all going to be plus money. So I'm going to take advantage of as many as I can and hope to hit at least 4. 4 will give you a nice little profit. And then with every additional win, you're going to get a little bit more. With that said, Brian, thank you for co-hosting with me today. You're also going to be on Thursday's show, I believe. Don Buster is on tomorrow, but let us know what you have up at WagerTalk and give us a show best bet.
Yeah, as of right now, I've got 2 plays up in the NHL, including a 4% play, a 3 and a 4%. I'm still working on baseball. I've got 3 shows to do, so those will go up a little bit later on today. They're night games, so it shouldn't have much effect on that. I do want to point out, before I get to my best bet, it's too bad Vancouver doesn't have anybody on the edge of that precipice of that number, because they're playing San Jose tonight. It opened 5.5, has gone up to 6. But San Jose is one of those teams that their season is over. They've got nothing to play for. They've got the worst record in the league. Vancouver is a team that is faded down the stretch. If you remember, this was a team that really got off to a nice start. I would expect a lot of goals in this game tonight. It's one of the games that didn't make my card, but if you can still get 5.5 over 130 at FanDuel and DraftKings, I would expect that to be a shootout. And I would expect Vancouver to be able to reach some goals in that one. But I'm going to go back to the first game we discussed, and that was that Chicago game against Montreal. Don't trust this Chicago team. As I mentioned, they've been a major disappointment again this year. A lot of questions to be answered in Chicago in this offseason. And Montreal's playing great defense, and they're playing at home, which have been terrific at home. 9-1 run. I think they shut down the Chicago offense. I'm going to play that under 2.5 minus 135 as my best bet on the show.
All right. I wish you luck, not only with that free play, Brian, but also with your 2 plays tonight in that 4%er. Playoff season's around the corner, guys. Brian, each and every year, this guy has a solid NHL season. Number 1 at WagerTalk, I think dating back to the inception back in 2015, 2016. So kudos to him on that. We have playoff packages up on our pages over at WagerTalk. I'm going to try and build off that 7-1 weekend as well, too. 2 plays up for tonight in the NHL. And some plays loaded in soccer for this week. Tuesday and Wednesday's Champions League, and have a 5% on Thursday in Europa League. So I'm hoping for a big week. And guys, as I mentioned, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. Our YouTube shorts are going to have some videos from me over the next 14 days on a bankroll challenge that I will be filming while I travel in Italy. It'll be up on my TikTok and the WagerTalk TikTok as well, too, as well as Instagram. So I will try and get those up as early as possible for you guys, and hopefully spit out a bunch of winners over 14 days, and then come back for the end of the first round and see if whether the Leafs have been eliminated or not. With that said, I'm going to go with the Dallas Stars tonight, minus 130. I get it, 5-game losing streak, but this team has rested some players. Those have been meaningless games for the Dallas Stars. Nothing to be worried about. Jake Ottinger should go in goal tonight, and then Casey DeSmith to finish off the season for them as they rest Ottinger. He's 6-1-1 his last 8 starts. The guy has been good. 8-0 for the Dallas Stars in their last 8 meetings against the Detroit Red Wings. Give me the Dallas Stars minus 130 as your show best bet. Guys, we appreciate you guys tuning in. I always appreciate you guys in the chat, sharing your info, always commenting. Hit that like button on your way out. And for myself, Brian Leonard, and our award-winning producer, Dan Alexander, this is Puck Time. Andrew and Buster will see you tomorrow at 11 a.m.